Hello, this is your girl Ash back from the dead without cataracts and with a fresh new case of presbyopia, here to talk portable audio with you. So we know that earphones span a variety of budgets, but in my mind, in my opinion, the best pair of earphones is always the one that you love the most within the price range that you're the most comfortable with. So if you're a newly graduated student or maybe someone who's on a little bit of a tighter budget, you'd normally default to the earphones in the price range of $50 to $100 because those are generally the ones that give you the best bang for your buck. So today we are going to be taking on a little bit of an experimental angle. We are going to be looking at what this price range between 50 to 100 can net you in a pair of earphones over the years. So we'll be focusing on the sound, build, form factor and what comes in the packaging of each of these earphones, and I'm going to have to set a few little rules for this before we start. Number one, I will only be starting from about 2007. It's not ancient history, I know, but I think it's only recently where the amount of quality earphones under $100 really rolled in. And number two, I'm keeping this to only 3 earphones because I don't want to kill myself. But if anyone has any more vintage selects for earphones under $100 that you want to share in the comment section, please feel free to do so. So without further ado, let's get started. So barely making the cut at $57 is the Crossroads MylarOne XBi earphones, and they are ancient. They date back to 2007, which is 14 years ago. Crossroads is a Korean brand that's a little bit obscure. That's because even when they were active, they were only distributed by Japan Singapore as well as some Australian circles. So this one really required me to go and do some serious internet digging. By the way, I got this pair of earphones from my friend Ted, who is sitting behind the camera right now.
Hi guys!
So this really required me to do some serious internet archaeology, okay? Because even the Google searches that I found, a lot of the websites had expired domains. So you know the kind of vintage tech we are dealing with here. I'm going to straight up give credit to my sources, which is J. Dimitri on Hitfi, as well as Stalker, a user called Stalker on another forum called Tech Enclave. Most of the information about the Crossroads MylarOne XBi is from these two gentlemen, so I've also linked these sources in the description so you can take a look at them if you're interested. So obviously this came without its packaging. In fact, I got it in this little plastic case over here. But from what I saw on Google, the packaging was apparently pretty robust. Came with a variety of ear tips in small, medium and large, as well as double flange ear tips and a carrying case as well. So honestly, looking at these things, they look like the $5 earphones that I can get from convenience store counters nowadays, but let's not judge them too harshly. They are 14 years old. I did find myself pleasantly surprised by its sound. It's very intimate and it's powered by a 10mm Mylar dynamic driver. It's fun, it's intimate, and it has a very close by sound signature that tends to stick to and surround your head. It also has a very nice bass that kind of bleeds up into the rest of the frequency bands without sounding too muddy or coloured. As much as I enjoy its sound signature though, right now it's a little bit more reminiscent of the Chi-Fi earbuds I reviewed last video. It's supposed to be lightweight, it's supposed to be low commitment, and I think above all things it's supposed to be fun. One more thing is that it had the most awful cable noise I've ever heard in my entire listening life so far. The cable is very thin, the shells are plastic and they feel extremely cheap, and I've read online that these things tend to fall apart, so I don't know how Ted kept his for 14 years with it still being pretty sturdy, but all credit to him. For something that's 14 years old, it's actually doing pretty well. It's honestly a worthy listen if you can get your hands on a second-hand one nowadays, but be careful not to get ripped off. Wouldn't pay too much for this. So next up we have the E3000 from Final Audio. These need very little introduction because they've been around for 4 years, just in time for the $50 to $100 boom. They have a pretty special place in my heart. They're actually the first pair of branded earphones I got. Sound-wise, these are powered by a 6.4mm DD. I'm just gonna come right out and say that I think these of the 3 that we are looking at today are still my favorite. Maybe it's the nostalgia, or maybe it's the fact that I just find its signature airy and enjoyable, who knows. Even though I'm reasonably sure that there is better out there, I think that the E3000, for me at least, is a classic case of better the devil you know. When we listen to music or describe music, sometimes we have the habit of pairing certain characteristics together. What I mean is, when we talk about something sounding cold and technical, we automatically assume that it's gonna be very detailed. And when we talk about something sounding warm, we automatically assume that it's gonna lose some resolution. I think that the final E3000 exists to spite this conundrum, because even though it is warm, it is intimate, but it is also detailed, and it has all of the resolution you could possibly wish for in a pair of earphones under $100. So the amount of detail this pair of earphones seems to dredge up always kind of amazes me, even as I look at even higher end earphones nowadays. And if you're like me and you like ASMR, you will be overjoyed at the sort of positioning that this pair of earphones offers. This doesn't mean that it's a very vast soundstage. It does not have a vast soundstage. Its soundstage is still relatively intimate, I would say within a studio setting or something like that. But it does have excellent positioning and excellent imaging. So the E3000 started out strong in the sound department. What about the rest of the criteria? One of the major gripes I've seen in E3000 users over the years is that its cable is the way it is, pretty basic, and that it is not swappable. It's black and it's just sturdy enough for you to wind up and throw into your pocket, but not that sturdy as well. Don't test it too much. What is surprisingly sturdy though is its stainless steel chassis. Now this one can probably take a beating. Earphone side connector wise though, so these are pretty glaring drawbacks, especially in the face of a recent deluge of earphones under 100 that have a complete suite of accessories and gorgeous cables. The E3000's packaging can be best described as minimalist. It comes with a drawstring bag as well as a full suite of Type E ear tips, which are actually pretty good, as well as a pair of soft ear hooks for you to pop on your earphones if you prefer to wear them in an over-the-ear manner. I have never used them in all the years I've been using my E3000s. So all these are pretty glaring drawbacks, especially in the face of a deluge of earphones under $100 that have all the bells and whistles like braided cables, swappable cables that have come in over the past few years. So if you're looking for a pair of earphones that's gorgeous and give you plenty of play options through cable rolling, the final E3000 is probably not for you. But if you're just looking for a versatile and reliable little friend that's good at doing what is written on the tin, and that is playing music, give the E3000 a try. The Moondrop Aria 2021 is the last pair of earphones on this list. Now I'll admit that despite the rave reviews that I've seen online, this pair of earphones took a little while to grow on me, with trebles and high mids that are well extended but a little bit thin considering its overall presentation. Powered by a 10mm dynamic driver, the Moondrop Aria 2021 has thick mids and bass, leaning its entire presentation onto the fuller side. The word warm doesn't quite cut it here. It is positively creamy with lush, full bass which have a lot of scale. If I had to pick something I personally wasn't such a huge fan of, it would be how the Aria's bass is a little less controlled and a little bit more sluggish than I'd prefer, which can make it come across as a little bit smeary. With the right genres, the Aria can be a very joyous, intimate, immersive and rich listen, but when given something with a more complicated bass line, the Aria doesn't fare as well. Lastly, the Aria 2021 isn't huge on detail, but I'm sure that the folks who love it don't really love it for its detail. They probably love it for its musicality, for the price tag, which is $80. Completely worth it. Its chassis is metal, very sturdy, with a matte black paint job and silver details, a far cry from the simpler bullet shapes of the previous two earphones. It is made using metal injection molding and CNC, both processes that are expensive and hard to implement. It also comes with a robust suite of accessories, including ear tips, a carrying case, swappable filters, as well as a pair of tweezers. The cable is made out of silver-plated conductors and wrapped by woven nylon, and is what I can only describe as confusingly tangly. So if you're someone who's a fan of the Arias and is ready to take advantage of its swappable, rollable cables, even if it's just for ergonomics, now's a good time to do it. So, good sound is pretty much timeless. For instance, tubes are back in vogue, and more people are building fully fledged hi-fi systems to support their turntables. All three of these earphones actually sounded pretty good. I mean, there is an objective increase in quality since the time of the XBi. The Aria 2021 is leaps and bounds better, but all three of these earphones were clearly made for people who prefer a warmer sound signature, albeit with different preferences even within that subcategory. I wouldn't say that there's been monumental changes in the sound quality, more tweaks to suit the modern markets and their preferences. What there is an increase in though is the amount of possibilities and personalization someone can get out of their sub-100 earphones. While most of us don't buy a pair of earphones based on its packaging, we always appreciate a brand that looks up on its peripherals. While this has always been expected for high and mid-tier earphones, it seems like it's fast becoming a given for sub-100 earphones as well. And to finish off, I think it's important to know what you're buying with your $100. Are you buying a sound? Are you buying a lifestyle? Or are you buying an accessory package? The only right answer lies with you and will definitely shape the way your gearbox looks. So on that slightly somber note, this is Ash, signing off. My social media is in the description. Like and comment if you want. Comment your favorite sub-$100 earphone, I really want to know what that is, as well as any other audio topics that you'd like me to zero in on so I can get cracking on them. Thank you for watching today's video. I'll see you next time when I next come back from the dead. Bye bye! It's noticeably powered by, and I might just pause this one.